Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Christian, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you had a fun time in between since we last met. Welcome back to a music producer breakdown of Through the Wardrobe. Now, by the time you're seeing this, I've also released a remastered version of my favorite tracks from Through the Wardrobe called Disgrace, Death, and Resurrection. It's on Spotify now. It's available to Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know. But links in the description to go listen to it, the original one and the remastered tracks, because I did put a lot of work into it, and I will be showing you some of the remastered tracks as well as some of the previous tracks. If you want to see a lengthier breakdown of this as well as some behind the scenes footage, make sure you guys go check out my Patreon down in the link in the description, where this whole thing is unedited and some really cool photos from the show as well as some videos of the show of how I filmed certain aspects of the show to get the timing down, like the Captain Ulf fight, which we're about to see very soon, as well as the battle, which will be our first track going through it. First of all, we get this. Which, if you don't know, there's so many motifs in here. We have the string ensemble, which plays what I like to call a Aslan motif adjacent, which is basically, it's what is it? What is his theme? Oh, da 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 da. And then we get some more brass section here. Oh, it sounds so good. And then we got another brass piece here. Love that. I will always love a good old Labs brass crinkle. Which I like to think of the White Witch. She always has the tremolo strings being like whenever she comes on, as well as the like adjacent strings, which is just like so creepy. Oh, it's so good. Heroics, and then war, and then trouble, and then he's losing the battle, because again, like I said previously, I don't know if I cut it out or not, but I said that I filmed both battle sequences, fight choreos, which was the battle and Captain Ulf versus the Prince, and both of them were sort of to this timing, and having that one there was very cool. Oh yeah. The signature White Witch frickin' which is just the fight audio from my mom recording the camera. No, I think this one was me. It's so good. The fight audio was so fun. It was so cool to see everyone give it their all when fighting. I know some of the actors, and so seeing a lovely, lovely lady, a lovely mom, dragging a little kid in a crow costume, and the kid is like using a knife on the stage, like a fake knife, using a fake knife on the stage, and just like, no, no. And the mom is dressed like a beaver, Mrs. Beaver. So cute. And then, if you didn't catch it earlier, this scream here was by Peter, which is played by my wonderful friend Kendall. They're amazing. I love them. And so I thought this scream sounded so good that I'll just replace it with the for the audio that we actually recorded, which was, since this was a rehearsal, and Francesca, our White Witch, was like getting like tackled by Aslan and was just like, dead. So I switched it with Peter's scream, which how frickin' coinkadink is that? Next up we got Lucy's theme, which is this one right here. Mixing with Aslan as well, so it sounds so good. And then we get the brass section, which really fluffies it out. The White Witch again. Now that's so cool. Now you might have been thinking to yourself, that sounded weird, this string. Because it shifts in frickin' semitones. It starts off here at a regular up -1, then a 2, and then back down to 0. So it starts off crazy. Like, it starts off like a semitone lower, then 2 semitones above the original note, and then it goes back to the original note. Can never go wrong with some bass. Yeah, the London Atmos. Next up we got, I think this is the Lamppost. Here it says Aslan's ending speech. That was kind of incorrect. This originally was the draft for the Aslan's last speech, but I was like, no, it doesn't sound oomph enough. It doesn't have enough oomph. So it became what the White Stag would run across at the very end, like after the battle and after the time skip, which was crazy. So we start off with this like luscious sweeping pad of wind and birds. Again, Labs really coming in clutch here. Thunder and bird song. Just some really lovely lush chords just played over one another. It's literally just like some of my favorite chords, because it's just major 7 chords with a bit of a 9 in there, and E flat major 7 is always going to be a banger. Then we got some tape orchestra for the strings over here, because strings, glass piano, and some good old-fashioned synth pads. Oh, it's going to be so good. Oh, it's so cool. Then we got something really cool, some swells and ensemble. Playing, I believe, the same thing. Ooh, no. This is the chord without the root note of it being E flat. So it's basically still the same chords, just without the E flat in the bass. My main inspiration for most of these after battle songs was a lot of Owl City from that one album. I forgot what it was called, but it was that one where Vivzy Pop made an animation about one of the songs, which was really freaking cool. Next up we have Captain Ulf versus the Prince, which is just Ulf fight scene. But first of all, this is another one of the remastered tracks, so this audio here is not actually in the original, because why would I have audio from the show in my soundtrack? Because it's a score, and the official scores should remain only the scores by themselves. Sorry, good God. This is the audio.
Well, I shall make short work of him.
It's so good, because the lovely actress playing Captain Ulf really did a great job at portraying this wolf being so snarling every single moment of the show, that the scene that they're in, to the point where when recording this fight scene, I think they did it twice. When recording this fight scene, my mom was like holding the camera, and she was like, "Die already." I love my mom. She's so cool. It's so funny. For this, I really wanted a fight scene but I was like, I don't know what the chords are. I have to figure out the drum pattern first. And with most battle sequences, they usually have, especially in forest settings and fantasy, they usually have a doom ticka tat 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 doom ticka tat, a pretty decent doom doom doom, pretty decent tom sound, as well as a bunch of like ka 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 sounds. So like things attacking things in the percussion, which makes this. And that's me literally beat marking the fucking footage that I had to go through, because I had the movie track here, and then it was like doom ta 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 doom ta 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 doom ticka ta doom ticka ta doom ticka ta doom ticka ta ta doom ta ka doom ta ka ta doom ta ka doom ta ka doom ta ka doom ta ka doom ka 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 ka. Beautiful bass chords, beautiful bass. Dum dum. Then we have this section here. Dun, 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 dun. And right here, you will find this little section here is a higher trumpet that I was like, I need something to add more pizzazz to this. It can't just all be low and middle range in the frequency range. I need some higher brass. But I'm like, I can't keep blasting brass at people. The speakers won't be able to handle it, because the speakers are also a thing I had to equate for with the soundtrack, because I can't have super low bass because that'll blow out the big speakers, and it can't be too loud because it's always in the red, and being very hot in the red is very much a bad thing to be in generally for most speakers. Just a big bunch of cluster chord here. And then we have Aslan's final speech, which for the most part is basically just his stuff, his instruments and everything, including the vocals being like, which is like kind of like a singular. I think it's Micah's choir of oohs, sustains, which also include the Micah oohs here, warp laments, this ascending thing, and then bringing it back down, widening that range of sound. Just basically sound walling you, because it's a speech. If you're intrigued by the score enough to focus in on the speech, then you are locked the fuck in. Well, a couple of the actors, Aslan specifically, the White Witch specifically, and Peter, have long strings of speech. So I had to equivocate that with long tracks. Literally, the White Witch's main reason that their pieces are longer than the rest of the tracks is because the White Witch is mainly known for speaking slow. At least the actor made that choice, and it was beautiful. The walk slow, speak attentively, and incitively. Is that the word? I don't know. Because I also wanted something to be like, hey, we've always had these very European orchestral sounding instruments, as well as some big like war drums, so on and so forth. So I wanted something to be different with this. If you look at the Act 1 and the beginning of Act 2 and the end of Act 2 as well, there's 3 different sections here. Act 1, you get introduced to this wonderful world with phantasm and wonder. then at the very end you get thrown into the freaking deep end of, damn, this shit is scary, which is why I intended this to be scary, because there's death in this. Aslan dies in like midway through Act 2, so that's why there's so much boom, big grandiose scale. The battle, just a cluster of sound waves and soundscapes, so that's why it's a lot of everything all at once. And the final like 2-3 tracks is literally just the forest breathing for once, actually being calm without any threat, letting it be, so to speak. I love the French horn. So beautiful. With the crunch time that I really had to put in, and a lot of effort that I had to put into this soundtrack, not everything is going to be like an official score would be if it was made to be played by an actual orchestra. Because if it was made to be played by an actual orchestra, it would have time signatures, time beats, and variations, and it would be played like that. And if I were to make this a bit better, I would actually have to put more effort into it and make it to a beat, to a track, to be like, hey, the listener can actually follow through what's going on without having to be swayed through this wave of motion. And the best thing I could say to that, to be plain and simple and blunt, I am just not a professional. I'm not great at what I do just yet. I do my best, and things will come of it. I did my best to keep the beats and change the time signatures, and being, hey, this will be beat markings for what I do for this, that, and whatever. I'm doing my best. I did my best, and I believe that I have done the best I can for both the original tracks and the remastered. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you had a fun time breaking down this score with me, and I do hope you do find on Spotify Disgrace, Death, and Resurrection, and Through the Wardrobe. They are both projects that I've worked very hard on, especially this, I believe this upcoming track. If not, it's already been released, a track with me and Silly Nix, where we made a wonderful song called Iconic. I produced the track for it, as well as worked on the lyrics with them back and forth. It's very cool, and did the backing vocals, which I released my a bit of a variation of it on my Spotify, but if you want to listen to the one that Silly Nix likes best, then you can go listen to that on their YouTube, which is linked in the description. And yeah, if you guys want to see more of my music, Patreon is down in the description. I'm working on a very cool thing called Epic, the fan mashup, which is basically Open Arms, and the rest of them are just cut songs, which is Your Light, a song that we call Cope With That, and a song that someone else fan named as Oceans in My Eyes, which is very cool. It's a very cool name. Most likely I'm almost done with the production side of things, as well as getting the artists commissioned and fully set up and everything. So I do hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for spending your time with me on this one, and if you did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, comment down your favorite part of this track, and if you want me to discuss anything more, I will try and make a YouTube Shorts out of it, because TikTok I don't believe is with us anymore. But yes, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.